Hello YouTube and welcome back to Allie's Wonderland Creations. I am Alice Seraphin and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Welcome to my channel, and I am currently working on May 13th Saturday video, which is video number 2 for May. And for the month of May, I am concentrating on the Color and Contour bundle, which may not be a bundle much longer, but or is not a bundle, but they are still in there. Let me give you a look at that stamp set. This is, let me move my whiteboard. This is the stamp set. These are the dies. I do feel that they are probably underestimated as far as the stamp set is concerned. Most people would probably purchase them just for these. But I think there's a lot here you can do with them. So that's why I chose to concentrate on this one. This time we're doing the thank you for everything. We are using a lot of the stamps. We're using this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So let's get started, shall we? And I do have one I'm going to use for the outside of the envelope. A different one. This is Special Moments. We are using Where Would I Be Without a Friend Like You. This is my sample. I originally put Where Would I Be Without a Friend Like You on the inside, but I really want it on the envelope, and I want to put Thank You for Everything on the inside of my card. This is my envelope. I did sponging on it. I used that flower. That's a boo-boo, but you get to see it anyways. But the card is absolutely lovely, and I'll show you a little trick I did putting this up on not dimensionals, but some chipboard from my paper pumpkin. So what shall we need? Well, let's take a look here. I got it all clipped together. Oh, I forgot to add the chipboard piece you'll need. So let me get that down here. I have it right here. Just did not. It is 3 1/4 by 2. So right here, 2 by 3 1/4 for chipboard, or you can use dimensional. This just happens to be chipboard or dimensionals. So this is nice and flat. I think it'll go through the mail easier if you don't put rhinestones on the card, that is. And for this card, we're not going to put rhinestones. That was just me trying something and seeing what I liked. So we have our chipboard that I took away. Love how I do that. So we have my chipboard. I'm going to put it right there. We have our card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. It's in Very Vanilla. Then we have the largest of the rectangle dies, and this is in the Mary Merlot of the Retired Neutral DSP paper. Then we have, oops, that's for the inside, the Crumb Cake layer, which is the second largest rectangle die. We are layering these up today. It's roughly 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. The rectangle largest one is roughly 4 by 5 1/4. Then we have, for the outside, this piece of Very Vanilla, which is 2 3/8 by 3 3/4, and that's the third largest rectangle die. Now for the inside, we have the largest rectangle die again, and then the second largest in Very Vanilla, and we have our envelope. So we are going to start, let me put that away. We are going to start with the focal point of our card, which is this little piece of Very Vanilla. And here I'm going to go with the inks. You know it's going to happen. Yes, Susie, I'm going to ink myself up really well. I have these little strips of Post-it notes, and I want to put a Post-it note right across the bottom here, right along that stitching, because I don't want the stem to go on that lovely little border. So let me see if I can stamp this sideways. I want it as close to this stitched line as I can get it. So that looks really good, and just a little bit is not going to be there. While we have this out, we're going to do some more stamping with the Memento. So we have this little flower bud, and it's going to go right here. I'm just going to bring this in just to make sure, because I can't like stand over it and look. I just don't want any of that. See, and I would have, I put a little bit. So that's there. What else do we need? Oh, we need the envelope, because we're going to stamp the other flower. Let me move this one aside. This lined image flower on the back. We're not going to do the boo-boo with the center of the flower. We'll have to figure out something else. So that, I believe, is all of the Memento. I'm going to set those stamps well away from me. So next, what are we going to do? Well, let's go ahead and finish our envelope up. And where is that stamp set? It says, where would I be without a friend like you? And we're going to use the Merry Merlot. So I'm bringing all my stamps in that need the Merry Merlot. We got a lot to do with Merry Merlot. So where would I be without a friend like you? And that is from the Special Moments. That's going down here on our envelope. I think it's just better suited to go there. Now we have this floral image that needs to go on the inside of that image, but I'm going to stamp off. And then, to tell you the truth, I really don't care how I line it up. You can turn it and turn it until you get it just so. Me, I'm going to stamp it once. I'm going to twist it and stamp it again a little bit. And to me, that fills it in just perfectly. Now, what are we going to do about the inside? That was my dilemma, because there isn't a little circular stamp. So I'm going to get into my little thing of Q-tips here I've been using lately. This was an afterthought. I tried using this to fill in, and it got too blotchy in the center. So I'm going to take a Q-tip. I'm going to stamp off a whole bunch of times. And then I'm just going to come around the inside. That gives it enough, and that will do it for me. So we need the sponge dabba to finish our envelope off. So I'm going to take my sponge dabber and go all the way around my envelope. It's going to tie it in with the front of the card, just really, really lightly. You could do it more. Looks like I'm getting more on there, so I might have to go around again. Really. We can even do the back flap. Open it up and go around. The flap. So our envelope now is completely done. I'm going to clamp that on my little magnetic clip so it's nicely out of the way. So we have our extras. What do we need? So we need to do this little flower, and here's its little bud. We're going to use this for several things. You may not have seen it. So I'm stamping off first, and I'm just doing that little flower bud. I'm going to bring in my blends. I'm going to do just a tiny hint of the dark right in that little area. I'm going to take the light, give it a little bit, go down the sides, do a little bit up there. So there's that. Now this is done for the moment. I'm going to set that one aside, and I'm going to bring in our focal point. And our focal point needs, yikes, this 4 petal images, that teeny one in these 3. Now we're going to stamp off twice. Stamp off again, and then stamp on our image. Now it's really, really pale, but that's why I'm bringing in this one. I really liked this. So I'm going to stamp off, And then I'm going to stamp like I'm adding flower petals. And this is a distinctive image. It's going to be darker in one area, and you're going to let me just stamp it. See how it's darker in that area? That is where I want it to go closer to the stem of the flower. So I'm going to ink it up again. I'm going to take a look at it. Okay, so that darker part is here, there. I'm going to stamp off again. I'm looking at, here it is, there. It's just getting another layer of depth in the coloring on this flower. And I'm even going to hold this up for you guys so you can see this close up here in just a second. Let me finish. And I'm hoping you can really see that this is where I stamped with that little bud stamp, and you've got this little curves which could be flower petals, and that's my artistic opinion. I really liked that, playing with it. And you can get it darker or lighter. This is my practice one, which I was debating how I was going to design this. So I'm going to bring in my dark Old Olive. I'm going to swoop some here, here, right there, here. I'm going to swoop some along this line, right here. And that's all for the dark. Now for the light. So the light, I'm just going to go over everything. I am kind of going outside of the line in the black Memento, just because I want you to see some of that green color. And then in here, you guys know I am no artist here. All right, so that is our flower. Now, before we go to any more Mary Merlot, I'm looking for something. Oh, no, we can go ahead. We're going to stamp our sentiment. Thank you for everything, which is a great sentiment for a friend. That looks so beautiful on there. Oh, so pretty. So before we go there, I'm just making sure no Mary Merlot is on here. We need to do some crumb cake. So I'm going to move Mary Merlot away. I'm going to move everything that had Mary Merlot on it away. I'm going to keep that out for a moment. Excuse me. And the crumb cake. So I am going to go around this image with this little splotchy image in crumb cake, but we're going to stamp off first before we do any of it. So I'm going to take it and start in that little nook. It somehow looks like it still has Mary Merlot on it, and I cleaned this thing off. Not very well, apparently. Maybe it's because my stamp and scrub has so much Mary Merlot on it, it needs to be cleaned. Let's check that again. All right, so stamp off, much better. Stamp off. Now I'm just going to go around the flower, stamping off each time. Move the stamp so it kind of fits where I want it to. And turn it. Turn this curved edge to get more of it where I want it. Again, I am going to go like right here. Stamp off. And right there. That's going to do it for that. Now I'm going to come in with Mary Merlot. And we are only going to do that outside little like ruffle of, I'm cleaning off the stamp. And I'm going to use these little Post-it note strips. And I'm going right up onto that stitched line. Just adding a little bit more And I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to just keep stamping all the way down that edge. Now I've got to take this and move it to the other side. Okay. So I'm going to stamp, stamp, and stamp, and now we're going to do the two short ends. You can start to see that detail that's going to show up on this card. So full strength with the Mary Merlot here. Yeah, you can see that. Look, Susie, I'm inking myself up always, never fails. Okay, so this one is done so far. Now we're going to repeat that whole process on the inside piece. So let's see, right there and right along there. Looks like it needs a little bit more there. Take it off, and yes, I do the two longer sides first, and then I go to the shorter sides. Just the way I'm doing it. You are welcome to do it however you want to. That's why I keep getting ink on me. I just keep stamping my hand on the stamp block, and really light in pushing. I mean, I am barely touching it down onto the Mary Merlot pad. But I really like the effect, the way it looks on the card. So here, let me show you what I mean by on the last one. Thought if I set it away from myself, I wouldn't get so much ink on myself, but that's not happening. So twist that off. Really light, just barely touch it down lightly. And that is all for that block. Now we are going to sponge it all. So go around. That's really deep on there. Didn't mean for it to be that deep, but it's going to have to be all the way around. I'm going to have to keep adding. We'll just keep it that way. If it wants to be that deep on the edge, that's fine. We're going to do the same. So really pretty bit of detail with just a sponge dauber or a sponge. Just really, really pretty. So now we can put our card together. I don't think I did anything else to anything. I think we did quite a bit. So let's get this put. Let me get some hand sanitizer. The alcohol in it helps with the ink all over me. So let's put this card together. So for the inside, we have the large Mary Merlot cardstock piece. Let's move the scratch paper out of the way. That's going to layer up right snuggled into each other. Beautiful. There's that. Now we're going to save that. We're not gluing that one down yet. So here's the crumb cake, and this is going on to the DSP. So inside, outside. And oh, we did forget. We forgot to stamp on this one, and I did stamp on it and sponge on it. Okay, let's do that now. I thought there was something else. This is not going to take but a second. First, I'm going to sponge around because there's plenty on this sponge dauber. all the way around the card. Then I did do it in crumb cake, just a little bit of detail. Hopefully I can get enough of that Mary Merlot off the, let's see, test it out. Nope, it still has some. So we'll have to go with the spray bottle. Let me see. Okay, Stamp In Scrub Pad. Yes, I do use it, but this is kind of basically how I do it when I have something. I have this there. You can see all of that did have quite a bit of Mary Merlot on it. So now I'm confident that I can stamp without inking up my crumb cake in Mary Merlot. So stamp off and stamp all the way around the outside. Tick-tock. Going all the way around. That's funny, the glass mat, I just realized it's making that sound. Sorry. Go all the way around the outside of the card base. Now we are completely done. Just that you guys might look at it and say, hey, wait, she missed something. I didn't now, but I was going to if I continued. Get that little piece out of there. So the DSP die goes front and center. Now we're going to open her up, move the scratch pad out of the way so you get a nice clean view of the card. Put the Mary Merlot cardstock. If you don't have any DSP with Mary Merlot on it, you could just use a piece of cardstock. It would be just as pretty. I started off when I was designing this card using basic white, and then I took a look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be really, really pretty with Very Vanilla. And Very Vanilla is an underused color. So I'm adding wet glue to my piece of chipboard. And this piece of chipboard snuggles in right on the back of that die. So now I'm going to load it up with glue because it does soak up a bit, the chipboard does. And now I didn't use any dimensionals, but I gave dimension to the front of my card. And because I did it like that, when this goes through the mail slot, there's no bumpity bump bumps. It is going to go through with a regular stamp. Now, if you were to put the rhinestones on this card, like I did on this one, that would not be the case. But this card doesn't even need the rhinestones, in my humble opinion. So this one that we just did, I am adding some Wink Stella, really getting that Wink Stella on my flowers here. Letting that do all the talk. And don't forget the little one on the inside. And this card is not having rhinestones, so this one has rhinestones, this one doesn't. That is the inside. So inside, outside. And where is the good envelope? The one that didn't have the blotchy on it. And this, ta-da, is the envelope. So I really hope you like this card, and if you don't have the color and contour stamp set and dies, you might just want to give them a try. They are so versatile. They have the sentiments, so very happy for you. You could add happy birthday in there. Thank you for everything. You could do a thanks on the outside and this on the inside. Here for you now. And in Better Days Ahead, that was in video number 1. Video number 3 will probably do You're Absolutely Amazing. And then I'll use this one in the other video too. And this one, stamp part, I'm having a little trouble with, so I'm going to have to work on using that one in it. So I hope that you, if you have it, give some of these techniques that I've used. Give them a try and see what you come up with. But more than anything, I want to invite you back to come visit me in my wonderland. Bye bye now.